The Passaic Exorcism. When evil took hold in New Jersey, a teenage girl spoke in ancient tongues and attacked those she loved. The Warrens faced one of their most dangerous cases yet. Late summer heat hangs heavy over Passaic, New Jersey, in 1976. Inside a modest brick tenement building, a family watches their daughter disappear before their eyes. Maria, 16 years old, once quiet and faithful, has become something unrecognizable. Her parents have exhausted every rational explanation. Doctors find nothing wrong. Psychiatrists offer diagnoses that fail to explain the impossible things happening in their home. In desperation, they turn to their parish priest, who makes a phone call that will change everything. The call goes to Ed and Lorraine Warren, a couple already known throughout the Northeast as experts in cases involving demonic activity. Their reputation precedes them. Police departments consult them. Priests request their assistance. Families in crisis speak their names in whispers, hoping for salvation from forces that defy comprehension. The transformation of Maria begins 6 months earlier, subtle at first. Objects in the apartment move when no one is nearby. A crucifix falls from the wall repeatedly, always at night. Foul odors manifest in Maria's bedroom with no identifiable source. Her parents notice these disturbances, but attribute them to old plumbing, settling foundations, the ordinary explanations people reach for when confronted with the extraordinary. Then the girl herself begins to change. Maria withdraws from her family, spending hours alone in her darkened room. She stops attending Mass, the Sunday ritual that has anchored her life since childhood. Her appetite vanishes. Her mother finds every mirror in the bedroom covered with black cloth, draped carefully so no reflective surface remains visible. When asked why, Maria offers no explanation, only stares with eyes that seem to look through rather than at the people who love her. The oppression stage intensifies. Maria's personality undergoes a fundamental shift. She becomes hostile, speaking to her parents with contempt that shocks them. Words come from her mouth that they have never taught her, obscenities that seem foreign to her nature. She knows things she should not know. Private conversations between her parents, conducted behind closed doors while Maria sleeps, are repeated back to them word for word. Family secrets kept hidden for decades surface in her accusations. She describes events from her grandmother's past that occurred before Maria was born, details never shared with the younger generation. The violence begins without warning. Maria attacks her mother during what starts as an ordinary conversation about dinner. Her hands close around her mother's arms with surprising strength, leaving marks that develop into bruises shaped like perfect handprints. The girl claims no memory of the incident afterward, confusion and fear crossing her face when confronted with what she has done. Days later, it happens again. This time her father must physically pull her away. The bruises form again in those distinctive patterns, fingers and thumbs pressed deep into flesh. The priest arrives and recognizes immediately what he faces. He has heard the Warrens lecture on demonic cases. He knows the progression they describe: infestation leading to oppression, leading to possession. Maria stands at the threshold, teetering on the edge of complete takeover. He contacts the Warrens that same evening. Ed and Lorraine Warren drive to Passaic and park outside the brick tenement as afternoon fades into evening. They carry with them the tools of their trade: blessed objects, recording equipment, notebooks filled with documentation from dozens of similar cases. Lorraine steps from the car and pauses on the sidewalk. She feels it before entering the building, that particular heaviness in the atmosphere she has learned to recognize. A suffocating presence that clings to locations where inhuman entities have established territory. The family meets them at the apartment door. Exhaustion marks every face. They have not slept properly in weeks. The mother's arms still show the fading bruises from Maria's attacks. The father's eyes carry the helpless desperation of a man who cannot protect his child from an enemy he cannot see or understand. The Warrens enter Maria's room. The teenager sits in the corner, back against the wall, knees drawn up. She does not acknowledge them at first. Then slowly, deliberately, she turns her head. A smile spreads across her face, an expression that contains no warmth, no humanity. She speaks directly to Lorraine, using her name though no introduction has been made. The words that follow reference details from Lorraine's past, private moments, and personal history that no stranger could possess. Ed Warren documents the encounter in his case, notes immediately afterward. In decades of investigating the paranormal, he has walked into countless homes claiming demonic activity. Most cases have natural explanations. Some involve genuine spiritual disturbance. A rare few involve actual possession. The immediacy and aggression of the entity inhabiting Maria marks this case as genuine and dangerous. The preliminary prayers begin that evening. Ed and Lorraine join the parish priest in Maria's room. Her father and two uncles position themselves nearby, sensing their presence will be needed. The moment prayer begins, Maria's body goes rigid. Her eyes roll back. The voice that emerges bears no resemblance to a teenage girl. It is guttural, layered, as if multiple speakers occupy the same throat. The men must physically restrain her as her body convulsions with unnatural strength. The entity speaks in Latin, the ancient language of the Church. Maria has never studied Latin. She attends public school where language classes offer Spanish and French, yet the words pour forth with perfect pronunciation and grammar. She recites scripture backward, inverting sacred texts with practiced precision. A rosary brought into the room as a blessed object is found minutes later twisted into a shape that should require tools and deliberate force to achieve. The metal links are bent and compressed as if squeezed in a vice. Lorraine stands near the bed when the glass strikes her. It comes from across the room, moving in a straight line with purposeful trajectory. No one throws it. No physical force propels it. Yet it connects with Lorraine's forehead above her eyebrow, breaking skin and drawing forth a wound that requires treatment. Ed Warren moves his wife from the room and states afterward that in all their years of investigation, he has rarely felt so directly and personally threatened by an inhuman presence. The Diocese of Newark authorizes a formal exorcism. A priest trained in the Roman ritual arrives to perform the ancient ceremony. Ed Warren remains present throughout, documenting every detail, recording audio when possible, taking notes when technology fails. The ritual spans 11 hours, divided across 2 separate sessions. The strain on everyone involved becomes physical. The priest's voice grows hoarse from continuous prayer. The family members maintaining vigil outside the room can hear the sounds within. Voices that are not Maria's, the scrape of furniture moving, the impact of objects striking walls. During the second session, the confrontation reaches its culmination. The priest commands the entity to identify itself, invoking the authority granted through his ordination. A name is spoken, recorded in Ed Warren's sealed case files. The priest commands the entity to leave in the name of God, repeating the formula prescribed in the Roman ritual, calling upon divine power to cast out the invading presence. Maria's body arches violently off the bed. Witnesses describe her spine bending at an angle that should cause injury. Then comes the sound. A single sustained note emerges from her throat, neither scream nor moan, but something between. The window glass vibrates in its frame. The sound continues for seconds that stretch unbearably long. Then silence. Maria's body goes completely still and settles gently onto the mattress. She falls into a deep sleep that lasts 4 hours. When Maria wakes, her eyes are her own again. The parents recognize their daughter immediately in the way she looks at them, the confusion and exhaustion in her expression. She has no memory of the preceding 6 months. The progression from infestation through oppression to the threshold of possession exists for her as a complete blank. She is physically weakened, her body depleted by the ordeal it has endured. But she is fully herself, the entity expelled, the invasion ended. The Passaic exorcism becomes one of the cornerstone cases in Ed Warren's extensive documentation of demonic activity. He references Maria's case repeatedly when speaking to university audiences about the reality of possession. He presents it to law enforcement groups, training to recognize signs of genuine supernatural disturbance versus mental illness or criminal activity. He uses the clear progression of stages, infestation to oppression to possession, to illustrate the predictable pattern these cases follow. Ed emphasizes to every audience the critical importance of early intervention. Maria was caught at the threshold stage before full possession was achieved. The exorcism, though lengthy and dangerous, successfully expelled the entity. Cases where possession reaches completion often prove far more difficult, requiring multiple exorcisms over extended periods. Some are never fully resolved. Maria goes on to live the normal life that was nearly stolen from her. She graduates high school, she attends college, she marries and has children of her own. She maintains her Catholic faith throughout her life, attending Mass regularly, though she chooses a different parish than the one her family attended in Passaic. She has never spoken publicly about the summer of 1976. The 6 months she cannot remember remain a sealed chapter, documented in Ed Warren's case files, but absent from her own conscious memory. The brick tenement building in Passaic still stands. The apartment where the exorcism took place has housed many families since. No subsequent reports of paranormal activity have emerged from that address. Whatever claimed temporary territory there was expelled completely, its connection to the physical location severed by the ritual performed in that bedroom. Ed Warren's case files on the Passaic exorcism contain photographs, audio recordings, witness testimonies, and his own detailed notes compiled during and after the investigation. The documentation serves as evidence that demonic possession, while rare, is real. The case demonstrates that the phenomenon follows recognizable patterns. Most importantly, it proves that intervention is possible, that families are not helpless when inhuman entities invade their homes and attempt to claim their loved ones. The Warrens continue their work after Passaic, investigating hundreds of additional cases over the following decades. But Maria's case remains among the most significant in their files. It represents everything they seek to prove: that evil is real, that it can manifest in the physical world, that it targets the innocent, and that through faith and proper ritual, it can be defeated. If you found this case compelling, subscribe to Vanishing Roads for more documented paranormal investigations from around the world. This story was created with AI assistance based on documented case files. All events reference real investigations and reported incidents.